2 weeks ago at a sold-out Maple Leaf Gardens, the Toronto Maple Leafs took the first step on to win their first ever Dave Cup, a 3-2 win as the number 3 seed over the number 6 seed Chicago Blackhawks. It was Stewart in the first period that got it going from Cloquet and Sloan. Then it was the pride of Yorkton, Saskatchewan, Metro Prestai, who scored to tie the game up at 8:03 of the second period. The Leafs behind an Eric Nestorenko goal, then an assist in the third period, went 3-1, and then the Hawks huffed and they puffed and they almost blew the door down. Metro Prestai hits a second of the game from Moisenko and Stanley. Toronto hangs on 3-2. Tonight, the scene shifts to the Madhouse on Madison as Retro Sports Network presents the Dave Cup 1955. Tonight from Chicago Stadium in Chicago, Illinois, it is the Chicago Blackhawks and the Toronto Maple Leafs. And tonight's game is brought to you by DigitalDice.com, the best darn podcast on the web for your sports simulation and replay needs. Find us today on Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, or wherever fine podcasts are listed. And good evening, everybody. My name is Ron Checkett. We'll be on in a second. It will be the Hawks and the Leafs from the Madhouse on Madison. Just making sure how many defensemen I have. I have 2. How many are dressed? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Oh, and Dewsbury and Gadsby are not available because they're playing for other teams. Al Rollins will get the start tonight in goal for there. Let me try. Why can't I dress them? All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So good evening. My name is Ron Checkett. Welcome to the program. It'll be the Hawks and the Leafs from the Madhouse on Madison. If the Hawks win this, then they will get even up the series at 1 game apiece. And in 3 weeks, we will have, because I'm on vacation the first week of July, we'll have a decisive Game 3 from Maple Leaf Gardens. If Toronto wins this one, they have a date waiting with the Montreal Canadiens, because this is a 3-6 series. The 3-6 winner gets the number 2 seed, which is Montreal. And again, Game 1 of that best of 3 will be in Montreal the second week of July, because the Rangers and Bruins, because the Rangers forced a decisive Game 3 next week. So that's the scenario here. Chicago, not a very good team. Toronto, however, was the very definition of average in 1954-55. They won 24, they lost 24, and they tied 22. Al Rollins gets the call tonight, and that for Chicago. Harry Lumley gets the call for Toronto. And so with all that in mind, let's do this. It is Game 2 of this best of 3 series. And so none of the Chicago starters scored except for Alan Stanley. Oh, kind of looks like he is a Kurt Russell or Kirk Douglas lookalike, right? So here are the starters: Red Sullivan, Harry Watson, and Ed Litzenberger. The forwards for the Blackhawks, Alan Stanley and Gus Mortson. On the defense for Chicago, and Al Rollins is in the net for the Blackhawks. For the visiting Maple Leafs, it'll be Ted Kennedy, who had 2 assists in Game 1. Sid Smith had a goal. Eric Nestorenko, the right wing, and a goal and an assist. And Tim Horton and Hugh Bolton are the starting defensemen. Harry Lumley, who played Game 1 in net, will get the call here for Game number 2. And so it'll be Sullivan and Kennedy on the face-off. Stanley and Mortson on defense. And Martin and Hollandsworth are the other defensemen. Hawks are in white. This is the last year for a while that the home teams will wear white. The Leafs are in blue. And from an excited Chicago Stadium, here we go. Puck is dropped, won by the Hawks. Sullivan clears it down. Here come the Leafs the other way. Nestorenko, right side slapper. In traffic, that misses wide left, and Stanley will try to skate it out the other way. Here come the Hawks. Sullivan over the line. Sullivan's going to take the shot. Long shot on Lumley, and I believe someone got a piece of that. It's wide. Here come the Leafs. Smith to Kennedy. Now Smith behind the net. He's hit by Mortson, and Chicago will change up. Here come the Hawks the other way. Pristai over the line, and he is offside. So a couple minutes into it. No shots yet. McGay and Metro Pristai, again, the pride of Yorkton, Saskatchewan on the face-off. McCoskey and Moisenko are with Pristai, with Hollingworth and Martin on defense. For the Leafs, it'll be McGuy with McDonald and Armstrong, with Cahan and Tim Horton. Pristai and McGay on the face-off just outside the Toronto zone. Won by the Hawks. They dump it around, but can't do anything with it. Armstrong with a breakout pass, can't do anything with it. And Pristai starts to rush the other way. Slow start to this one. McCoskey loses it, and McGay will have it. Hawks will change up. Sloan to Cahan, over to Tim Horton. Horton, snapper right side. Rollins saw that all the way. Tapanzi and we're going to say Morrissey get into it. And so the face-off will be to the right of Rollins. 16:56 first period, no score. Only one shot on the game. Hawks will change their defense. So first line out, Kennedy versus Wilson on the face-off. First line out for the Leafs. Face-off won by Toronto. Kennedy to Nestorenko. They're going to take an immediate shot. That slapper. Rollins sees that, gets a paddle on it, gives it to Mortson, and the Hawks start to rush the other way. Stanley hit by Kennedy. Here come the Leafs again. Nestorenko misplays it. A lot of tricky names here. Here comes Wilson the other way. Toppensy over to Wilson. Wilson with McCormick playing cherry picker in front of the net on Lumley. Harry saw that all the way, makes the save, and we get a save and a hold face-off. 15:44 to go first period. Top line on for the Hawks, second line on for the Leafs. McGay with Armstrong and McDonald for Toronto. Sullivan, Watson, and Litzenberger on for Chicago. Sullivan and McGay on the face-off. It is won by Litzenberger, has it behind the net. Going to try and feed Watson cross ice for a mid-range shot. He's got it. Drives it. Sullivan tries to jam it in, can't do it. Horton and Mortson do some pushing and shoving, and that's about it. So the shots 2 apiece. So Sullivan, Watson, and Litzenberger out there. Top line versus top line. Face-off is won by Sullivan. Has it behind the net. Again, we'll try to feed Watson down the left side for a shot. Watson has it. He'll shoot. Lumley with a good save. That's the second great save of the game. Nestorenko has it, and Chicago's going to feel upset. They've had 2 good scoring chances and couldn't do anything with them. Here's Cahan. They dump it around for Sloan. To Kulke. Bounces over a stick. Change coming up for Chicago. Martin clears it all the way down, only to Sloan. Toronto takes their time, sets it back up. 6 minutes gone in the scoreless game in the first period. Sloan has it behind the net. Tries to find someone to take the shot. It'll be Morrison. The right D, a blue line special. Rollins gives up the rebound. He kicked it away to Stewart. Over to Sloan, who shoots. Rollins again with a save. So Rollins gave up the rebound. Sloan was there, and Rollins got up the glove. So Wilson, Topazzini, and McCormick on the ice for the Hawks. Kennedy, Smith, and Nestorenko top line out for the Leafs. Horton and Bolton on defense for Toronto. Stanley and Mortson for Chicago. Kennedy and Wilson to the left of Rollins. Face off won by the Leafs. Smith loses the puck. Here come the Hawks. Topazzini to Stanley, who had an assist in game one. Long shot right side. That's over everything. And they'll change defense. Will the Leafs as they set up their next possession. Toronto changes. They dump it around. Give to Mortson. Hawks put on their fourth line. McIntyre and McDonald fight for it. Toronto has it at center. McGay dumps it around. McIntyre the other way for the Hawks. Down to Jankowski. Over to Stanley. Stanley, best chance here to take a shot is Stanley. Hits the slapper. Creighton tries to deflect it, but he misses the net, and Toronto clears it out the other way. Jankowski touches the puck. 11:14 to go, first period. Hold on a sec here. Let's get this defenseman set. And we want Stanley and there. So Jankowski has the puck. Chicago will change. Sullivan to Watson. Watson will chip it. Sullivan in front of the net. Lumley squeezes the legs and makes the save. So Sullivan and Stewart on the face-off now. 10:54 to go. First period. No score here. Shots for aside. These two teams combined for 78 shots in game number one. Sullivan and Stewart on the face-off in the Toronto zone. Won by the Hawks. Watson has it. Going to go cross-ice to Litzenberger, who has a good shot here. Litzenberger drives it. But Lumley saw that all the way, and Sloan and Hollingworth get into it. So again, the face-off to the right of Lumley. Stewart and Sullivan on the face-off. In a scoreless game, already 9 shots into this one, and both the goalies look sharp. Stewart and Sullivan on the face-off. That is won by Toronto. They've got into their own zone now. There's a hit, and here comes Litzenberger with a check. Gives it to Hollingworth, and Chicago skates it back the other way. Sullivan now to Harry Watson. Watson isn't going to try to penetrate past Tim Horton. He might stop and get some Timbits, but not a shot. Takes the long shot. Lumley has it off a paddle. Leaves it for Sloan. The Leafs will change. The Hawks will change, and Toronto starts it out. Morrison dumps it around for Smith. Now Cullen will take the shot to the right of Hollins. And he misses that well wide. Martin's got it. Leaves it for Hollingworth. And the Hawks will change the defense. Toronto takes it at center. Cullen to Smith. Sid Smith. Moisenko on the defense. Smith with a scoring chance. Rollins saves it, but they can only clear it to center before Kennedy comes in. Toronto trying to set up. 8:39 to go, first period. Nestorenko hit by Stanley, who's upset the cup is named after him. Hawks have the puck. 8:21 to go. The Wilson line is on. Hit by Cahan. Here comes the Leafs at center ice. 8:02 to go. Stewart dumps it around. Can't find anything open. The Hawks will set it back up. They change defensemen. Topazzini hit by Sloan at center ice. Here come the Leafs. Stewart back to Sloan behind the net. He's hit by Martin. Chicago has the puck. They'll change up again. Hollingworth dumps it around for Jankowski. Here comes Nestorenko the other way. They put it on. Rollins has it. Sweeps it behind for Hollingworth. And again, shot 6-5 in front of the Hawks. But we've only had 2 scoring chances. They've both been Toronto in this one. Jankowski saucers it to Creighton. Back to Jankowski. Long shot left side. Lumley gets a kick on it, bounces it to center, and then Chicago sets it back up and will go again. First line on for the Hawks. Sullivan over the line. Now Sullivan through a screen. Litzenberger hopes to get a stick on it. He tries to deflect it. Deflects it wide. Armstrong has it. Here come the Leafs the other way. Puck is loose. They can't get anything going. Stanley has it. 5:17 to go in the first period. No score. Watson up the wing. Penalty coming up on Parker McDonald. He gets called for the rough. He knocked down Harry Watson, and that was enough. And so the crowd doesn't like that. So McIntyre and Mortson on the ice as the defenseman. Prestai, who had the 2 goals in game 1 out there with McCoskey and Moisenko. Nestorenko and Ted Kennedy to kill it for the Leafs, along with Thompson and Morrison. How you doing now, Red Sox fan? So the Hawks on the power play, 4:59 to go, opening stanza. Prestai. Now McCoskey. Right side. That bounces off Thompson and out of play. That must have hurt. So the face-off now to the right of Lumley. Kennedy and Prestai again. 4:40 to go, first period. Glad you're with us on this Monday night for Monday Night Hockey, the 55 Dave Cup. No score here between the Blackhawks and the Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs won game 1 in Toronto, and if the Leafs win this, they win the series. Kennedy and Prestai in the face-off, won by Kennedy. The Leafs clear. Chicago did not get a power play goal in game 1. 1:21 to go. Moisenko over the center line. Dumps it around for Prestai. Back to Mortson. Long shot. Wide right. Cahan has it. Toronto clears it all the way down. They change up. Watson has the puck. Now to Litzenberger. Gets around over the line. Litzenberger in traffic with a shot. Blocked by Sid Smith. Toronto clears. This is not a good power play for the Hawks. Stanley sets up the rush. 20 seconds to go. Watson over the line. Power play is over. Martin has it. Martin's just going to wind and fire. Litzenberger trying to screen Lumley. And Lumley squeezes the legs and makes the save. 2:50 to go in the first period. There is no score. I'm going to take a drink. It'll be Kennedy and Wilson on the face-off. To the left of Lumley. Scoreless first period. Face-off is won by Wilson. Wilson has it behind the net. Really can't find anybody open. They will cycle it around again. McCormick hit by Nestorenko. Back come the Leafs. They are about to change. 2:34 to go in the opening period. Kluke over the line. Throws it at the net. Rollins will save it. Morrison and Hollingworth have a few unkind words. And the face-off will be to the left of Rollins. It'll be Kennedy and Wilson. So 8-6 the shots in favor of the Hawks. 2:16 to go. Face-off is controlled by Wilson. To Panzini over the line. Knocked down by McCormick. Horton picks it off. Here come the Leafs. Cullen dumps it around after a line change. Kolke. Left side. His shot well wide. Wilson gives it to Hollingworth. 98 seconds to go. Hawks will finish the period with the first line on. Sullivan, one-timer between the dots, deflected wide by Watson. Here come the Leafs. Kolke, and he is offside. So kind of a dull first period. A couple great saves by Harry Lumley. And the Leafs have had a couple scoring chances, but they haven't been able to get anything past Rollins. Face-off will be just in front of the Chicago zone. Cullen and Sullivan on the face-off here. Cullen wins it. Bolton over to Cullen. Smith loses it. 40 seconds to go in the period. Stanley dumps it around. Toronto has the puck. Sloan, both teams seem to be content for running out the clock. Watson, with 4 seconds left, will clear. And that will be that for that. Well, after 20 minutes here at Chicago Stadium, shots 8-6 in favor of the Hawks. Toronto had both the scoring chances, and they blocked 2 shots. The Hawks had a power play and did absolutely nothing with it. So after 20 minutes, it's the Hawks nothing, the Leafs nothing. We'll have the second period right after this. Well, the opening period down here at Chicago Stadium, and the only thing on the score sheet is that they had 2 minutes for Parker McDonald for that hard check. That was it. 8-6 the shots in favor of the Blackhawks. We had 13 face-offs in the period. Hits 5-4 in favor of the Leafs. They blocked 2 shots, and that's about it. This one has not been all that exciting. Yeah, scoreless in Chicago after 1. And this is the last year for a while that the home teams will wear white. Then they'll go into their home in dark and road in white for a while. And that will go on, I believe, to the 1980s. Mr. Gardner would know. First line on for both teams. Kennedy and Sullivan at center ice for the face-off. And it is won by Toronto. Smith clears it to center. Chicago picks it up. Mortson trying to get something started here. Litzenberger over the line to Sullivan, but can't control the pass. Here come the Leafs. Kennedy, a one-timer in traffic. Nestorenko in front. He shoots. Deflected by Nestorenko and in. Kennedy with the initial shot. Nestorenko just tipped it just a little bit. And the Leafs go up 1-0. Here it is again. Nestorenko, it was going wide, and Nestorenko just redirected it. Rollins thought it was under control, and he didn't. So Nestorenko, his second of the playoffs at 51 seconds of the second period. From Kennedy and Smith. And that's not what you want if you're a Hawk fan. Kennedy and Sullivan on the face-off. 1 minute in. Kennedy wins it. Toronto has it. Now Nestorenko, who already has the goal, going to shoot again from a low angle. Rollins starts to sprawl, makes the stop, and we get a face-off. So the Hawks will make a change. Prestai, McCloskey, and Moisenko. And that's about it. Everyone else stays the same. Prestai and Kennedy to the right of Rollins. Face-off is won by Prestai. They get it to center and can't do anything with it. Bolton has it for the Leafs. 18:33 to go in the second. They change up. Sloan with a shot for the Leafs in traffic, and that misses everything wide to the right. Stanley has it over to Prestai, and the Hawks trying to get something going. Prestai dumps it around. McCloskey has it, gives it away. It bounced over his stick. Lukai the other way. Prestai knocked it loose. Mortenson's got it. And the Hawks will change. 8-8 the shots, 1-0 the score. Wilson clears it. Here come the Leafs the other way. Morrison, he'll give it away now to Martin. 16:58 to go. McCormick over the line. Toppenzini going to find Wilson in the center spot. Wilson, can he shoot? He can. That's blocked by Smith. Now Morrison, they lose it out, and they'll have to regroup at center ice. 16:29 to go in the second. Hollingworth tries to skate it in over to Wilson. Stolen by Thompson. And here come the Leafs. Leafs have it. They change up. Tim Horton. He'll wind and fire, and Rollins makes a fantastic save, and we'll get a face-off. So 15:48 to go. Fresh skaters for the Hawks will be Creighton with McIntyre and Jankowski with Stanley and Morrison. McGay, Armstrong, and McDonald, who haven't had a lot of ice time, on for the Leafs. How you doing? Hi-li heyday. Yep, some hockey before the heat melts the ice. Yeah, we're not streaming again until it cools off. So McGay and Creighton on the ice for this face-off. If you haven't seen any of these games, the Leafs won game 1 3-2 and lead this one in the second period 1-0. McGay and Creighton in the Chicago zone on the face-off. It is won by Creighton. McIntyre over the line now for Chicago. Back to Allen Stanley. Stanley's going to take the shot himself. Creighton skating for the tip. Stanley shoots. Lumley saw that all the way, and we get a face-off. So Kennedy and Creighton top line on for the Leafs. Hawks trying to get some pressure on. Nestorenko will take the face-off instead of Kennedy. It is won by Nestorenko. Leafs into the Chicago zone. Nestorenko already has one tonight. Rollins makes the save, and we will do it again. This time to the right of Rollins. Sloan, Klukai, and Stewart on for Toronto with Cahan and Tim Horton. Stewart and Creighton in the Chicago zone. Face-off won by Creighton. So Chicago chips it out, but they can't do anything with it. However, they give it away at center. Jankowski trying to skate it over the line to Stanley. Allen Stanley with Creighton in front. Stanley shoots. Klukai with a block, and they move it to center. Then the Hawks put on some fresh skaters. Red Sullivan to Litzenberger, who loses it off his skate. They pass it around now. McGay behind the net. Poked away by Harry Watson. Can the Hawks do anything with it? They get aggressive. Sullivan hit by Horton. Toronto has it at center. Thompson. They change up. Sloan throws it at Rollins, who will make the save and the hold. So Prestai, McCoskey, and Moisenko out there versus Sloan, Klukai, and Stewart. Stewart and Prestai to the right of Hollins. 12.5 to go here in the second period. Face-off is won by the Hawks. McCoskey, is he going to penetrate? No, he's just going to shoot. He had an assist in game 1. Going to shoot around Morrison. He's got a drive. Sloan takes the block, gives it to Morrison. However, they can't get it out. Moisenko behind the net. McCoskey, cross-ice pass. Is he open? Yes, he is. One-timer. Lumley is there. Lumley is nailed. And Toronto will have a few unkind words. 11:27 to go in the second period. 1-0. Leafs. Dave Gardner, how are you? Dave is feeling better. He had a release. So Prestai and Kennedy on the face-off. To the left of Lumley. Face-off is won by Kennedy. Here come the Leafs. McCoskey takes it away from Nestorenko. Then the Hawks will change. Hollingworth down to McCormick. Over to Larry Wilson. Larry, the chairman of Hair Club for Men Chicago chapter, is going to try to skate around Nestorenko. He does get around Nestorenko. Kennedy chases him down. Wilson shot. Lumley is there. Nestorenko and Hollingworth have some words. 10:36 to go. The Hawks have yet to have a scoring chance, and we're almost halfway through this game. The Leaf goal came on a deflection at the start of the second period. McGay out there with Armstrong and Parker McDonald. Wilson out there with McCormick and Topazzini. McGay and Wilson on the face-off in the Toronto zone. Won by the Leafs. They dump it around. McCormick takes it away from McDonald. And again, Chicago just really even though they've are even in the shot department, they really haven't put any sustained pressure on Toronto. They stick with who they got. Wilson over the line. He'll fire. Misses that one wide left. McDonald's got it. Here back on the Leafs. Armstrong, a slapper. Deflected wide by McDonald. And that won't do any good. So lots of deflections, but not a lot of goals. 9:44 to go. Hawks will change up. Wilson dumps it around for McCormick. Taken away by Bailey. Bill Bailey over to Smith. Hit by Allen Stanley. I thought I changed it up. Chicago looks to put some fresh skaters on. McIntyre over to Creighton. Dave Creighton. Going to try to get around Bailey here. He does. Lets it fly up close. Lumley got it. Leaves it for Cullen. Now to Smith the other way. One-timer. Rollins through the screen sees that. 8:26 to go. So again, the Hawks do not have a scoring chance. Mr. Gardner, if you're still here, this is the last year for a while that the home teams wore white. They go to the road white home dart starting in the 55-56 season. Let's see. No changes for the Hawks. Kennedy, Nestorenko, and Smith on for the Leafs. Face off to the right of Rollins, won by Creighton. Now Chicago sets it up. Toronto has it at center. Smith, they'll dump it around. This has been a dump and chase game for sure. 7:49 to go. Hawks change up. Litzenberger over the line, but he was ahead of the puck. So offside is called. 7:30 to go, second period. Again, McDonald and Armstrong on for the Leafs. Sullivan, Litzenberger, and Watson on for the Hawks as we'll drop it just in front of the Toronto zone. Face-off won by the Leafs. McGay over the line. Can't do anything with it. Sullivan starts the rush the other way. They trail 1-0. Watson. Right side shot. Lumley. Get a glove on it. Hands it to the ref. 6:47 to go. So first line for both teams. Kennedy out there versus Sullivan. Chicago hopes to draw it forward. Sullivan actually is better on the face-offs. Won by the Leafs. Nestorenko has the puck. He's got the goal. He'll take the shot. Blocked by Martin. He kind of winces as he's got the puck. He leaves it for Sullivan. Hawks will change. Prestai dumps it around, can't do anything with it now. Prestai gets called for a rough. He hit Cahan, and the Leafs are going to get their first power play of the game. They lead 1-0, 5:34 to go. So the rough stuff, and Prestai goes to the box. McCoskey, Wilson, Mortson, McIntyre. I'm a home white sweaters kind of fan for hockey. Me too. I don't like the fact that they wear dark at home. I like the whites at home. So Wilson and Kennedy on the face-off. First power play for Toronto. And they try to add to this one-goal lead. Face-off is won by Wilson. And they clear it down to Sloan. And Toronto will set it up. They change up. Kolkai to Armstrong behind the net. Armstrong skates it around. Throws it at Rollins, and he's going to miss that one off target left. They keep it in the zone. Morrison this time with a shot. Rollins will get a glove on it. And with 1:10 to go, we'll have a face-off to the right of Rollins. Boyzenko and Jankowski on for the Hawks. Sloan, Kukai, and Armstrong on for the Leafs. White, I agree. White should be at home. It's amazing how small the logos are on the sweaters. That'll change for 55, 56 as well. Sloan and Jankowski on the face-off. It is won by Toronto. Armstrong behind the net to Kolkai. Point-blank range. He'll shoot. Rollins with a good save. It's loose in front. Al Rollins saved a goal for sure. Sloan's got it for the Leafs. Now Sloan going to try to tuck it under the wraparound on Rollins. No! Rollins with a stop. And Chicago clears. Back come the Leafs. Moisenko steals it away. Toronto got 3 good shots on here. They cleared all the way down, and the power play's over. So 15-13, the shots in favor of Toronto. I got Steez. Excuse me. 3:34 to go, first or second period. 1-0 Leafs. Chicago has it at center. Hollingworth tries to skate it into the zone. They'll lose it. Smith one-on-one the other way. One-on-one on Rollins. Sid Smith. No, what a stop. Rollins got the save, and both teams throw some snow at each other. So 16 shots for the Leafs, 13 for the Hawks. No changes for the Hawks. McGay, McDonald, and Armstrong on the ice. To the right, left of Rollins, the face-off won by the Hawks. Litzenberger the other way. Takes the shot. Lumley not giving up anything on the rebound department. And the face-off will be to the left of him. For Stein, McCoskey, Moisenko. Out there versus McGay, Armstrong, and McDonald. The chat agrees about the home uniforms being the lighter color. For Stein and McGay on the face-off, won by McGay. And however, they're offside. McDonald and Hollingworth have a few words. There's been a bunch of chirping in this one. Don't know if we'll see a fight tonight or not. Toronto is 22 minutes away from a date at the Forum in Montreal. Kennedy and Prestai on the face-off here. First line Leafs, second line Hawks. Face-off is won by the Hawks. Prestai sets it up. Nesterenko hit Prestai and get called for a cross-check. So the Hawks are going to get their second power play of the night. Nesterenko getting a good old Bronx cheer as he heads for the sin bin. So Sullivan, Watson, Litzenberger out there for the Hawks with McIntyre and Mortson. With Flukai and McGay, Cahan and Bolton to kill this for Toronto. 1:52 to go in the period. Toronto wins the face-off. They dump it around. Watson takes it away. 1:37 to go. So the period will end before the power play unless the Hawks score. Watson to Sullivan behind the net. Litzenberger right in front of the net. First scoring chance of the game for the Hawks. Litzenberger scores! He beats Lumley below the glove, and with 1:07 to go, we're tied up. So Litzenberger, his first, from Sullivan, his first, and Watson, his first. It was 86 before they went to the one-word Blackhawks instead of the two-word Blackhawks. I wasn't sure when that was. So 1-1 tie, and they are steaming on the Toronto bench. Kennedy versus Prestai. Second line versus first. Prestai wins it over the line. Moisenko. He shoots. That's well wide. Toronto clears it out to center. 48 and change to go. Hollingworth to McCoskey to Moisenko. The Leafs buzz around him. Lumley makes the save, and there's 30 seconds to go. So Cullen out there, line change for the Leaf with Klukai and Bailey. No changes for the Hawks. Prestai, remember, had the 2 goals in Game 1 up in Toronto. Kukai will take the face off from Cullen. Prestai has it behind the net. They're going to take a chance to cycle. Toronto makes a hit, and that will be the end of the period before Horton and Hollingworth. Here's a who. So, 2 goals in the period. Both teams have won. 10-8 the shots in favor of the Leafs. They had 5 scoring chances. The Hawks have scored on their only scoring chance of the game. Yep, giving up those late goals do always sting, don't they? Block shots 3-1 for the Leafs. Hawks convert on the power play. We'll have the third period right after this. How you doing, Everett? Nice to have you along. This one has been a pretty tight affair. Both the goals came in the second period. Nestorenko on a tip-in from Kennedy and Smith to make a 1-0 Leafs. And then just a moment ago, Litzenberger on the power play from Sullivan and Watson on the Nestorenko cross-check. So Nestorenko's kind of figured in both goals. Shots 16 aside for both teams. 9-6 the hits in favor of the Leafs. 5-1 blocks in favor of the Leafs. Scoring chances 7-1 in favor of the Leafs. The Toronto 0-1 on the power play. Chicago is 1 for 2. Pesky pole. What sport is this again? Cricket. So here we go. You get off. So 20 minutes to go here at the Madhouse on Madison in a 1-1 tie. The shots are tied. The game is tied. Kennedy and Sullivan on the face-off. At center, won by Toronto. Kennedy with Nestorenko trying to interfere with Rollins. Takes the shot. Al saw that all the way. Rebound controlled by Sullivan. And the Hawks break it out. Horton takes it away at center. Toronto's got it. Kennedy to Bolton behind the net. Bolton will take a slapper. Rollins will glove it. And there is no rebound. For Stein, Moisenko, and McCloskey out there versus the Leafs top line. 18:52 to go regulation time. Face off in front of Rollins. Now here comes the Hawks. Stanley skates it over. 2-on-2. Winds and fires, and Lumley just makes the catch. Sloan, Stewart, and Kukai out there for the Leafs. No changes for the Hawks. Stewart and McCoskey on the face-off. It is won by Chicago. Moisenko's got it behind the net. Feeds it out to Mortson at the blue line. He'll take the slapper. Lumley has it off the pad. Bounces to center. Controlled by the Hawks. McCloskey over the line to Moisenko. Hit by Sloan. The Leafs come back the other way. Stewart dumps it around. Can the Leafs get a shot? Yep, Kukai. To the right of Rollins. A long shot. Al saw it. And Alan Stanley's done. I don't know if he got hit by the puck or whatever, but he's holding his face, and he will skate off the ice. 17:19 to go. So Martin and Hollingworth on the ice. We'll take a minute to make sure that Stanley is okay. Prestai has done all right. He hasn't scored yet. So Kennedy and Wilson, we're told that we can go back. Kennedy draws the face-off back over to Tim Horton. Horton with a shot. Rollins again will do it. Nestorenko on Toppenzini have a few words. and slows down the pace of the game. This time Wilson and McGay on the face-off, this time to the right of Rollins. It is won by the Hawks. McCormick over the line to Wilson. Larry Wilson with a shot through traffic, deflected by McGay and out. Horton will dump it around for Armstrong. Armstrong trying to figure out where Rollins is weak. Rollins again makes the save. Horton and Hollingworth get into it. Remember, their top defenseman, Alan Stanley, is out with a jaw injury. Kennedy and Wilson on the face-off, this time to the left of Rollins. And the face-off is won by Wilson. Cleared back over by Toronto. Nestorenko, who has the Toronto goal. Kennedy in front. Nestorenko shoots. That's blocked by Wilson. Chicago clears only to center. Rollins will takes a dump and chase. Leaves it for Martin. And now I got to change defensemen here. Jack McIntyre and Mortson, as the Hawks will only play with 4 defensemen the rest of the game. Watson hit by Cahill. Toronto has it at center. Tim Horton over to Stewart now. Stewart with McIntyre in front. Rollins, it's blocked by McIntyre, gives it to Sullivan. Back come the Hawks, 14:37. They clear it to center, but that's about it. Line change for the Hawks. Sloan. Line change for the Leafs. Kokai hit by McIntyre with a good check. McCoskey tries to skate it out for Chicago. Prestire over the line, and Sloan is going to get called for interference. Todd Sloan didn't like the call. And the Hawks, with 13:34 in a tie game, are going on the power play. So Frescator's on the ice. Yep. So Sullivan, Watson, and Litzenberger to take the face-off. Hollingworth and Martin will put it in. Kennedy and Nestorenko, the top Leafs defenders, who kill this off with Thompson and Morrison. Face-off to the right of Lumley, won by Chicago. Litzenberger. He'll take the shot. Lumley will make the catch, and Sullivan and Morris will have a few words. 1:42 to go in the power play. Sullivan and McGay on the face-off to the left of Lumley. Won by the Hawks. Sullivan behind the net. Going to try to feed Harry Watson on a long pass cross ice. Watson's got it. Takes the shot, blocked by Bolton. Litzenberger's got it. Now Litzenberger going to try and feed Sullivan right in front of the net. Sullivan at point-blank range. He'll shoot. Lumley gives up the rebound. Litzenberger's got it. Litzenberger again. Sullivan skates towards the net. Has the shot. Watson right there, too. Watson with the screen, and Lumley saw it all. So 50 seconds to go on the penalty to Sloan. Chicago will put Frescators out there. Prestide with McCoskey and Moisenko. Mortson and McIntyre out there versus Nestorenko, Kennedy, Horton, and Bolton. Face-off is won by the Hawks. Moisenko with a wrister. Lumley gives up the board. McCoskey's got it. McCoskey behind the net. Prestide trying to work his way free. Looking for his 3rd goal of the series. Poked away by Bolton. And the Leafs clear. And with 6 seconds to go, that should be the power play. At least the Hawks got on 4 shots. McCoskey, desperation shot. Lumley gives up the rebound. Power play is over. Moisenko waits. He sees McIntyre, who normally is a left wing. McIntyre takes the shot. Prestide Thought he was going to deflect it, did not. And we get a save and a hold. 11:22 to go in a 1-1 game. Yep, that was the Blackhawks' best 2 minutes of the night outside of their goal. Martin and Hollingworth out there. Top line on for the Hawks. Top line on for the Leafs. Face-off in the zone is won by Chicago. Sullivan tries to get it out to Hollingworth. And Hollingworth will get the shot. Smith in position to block. Lumley will make the save and a hold, and we'll do it again. 11:11 to go in a 1-1 game. And that was indeed a good power play. The Hawks are 1 for 3 tonight. The Leafs are 0 for 1. Sullivan and Kennedy in the face-off, won by Toronto. Smith the other way, over the line. Takes the shot. Rollins will save it. And line changes coming up. Let's see. I want... All right, so Wilson, Toppenzini, and McCormick out there versus Stewart, Klukai, and Sloan. Face off to the right of Rollins in the Chicago zone. Won by Chicago, and they'll just wrist it right back down. Leafs changing defenseman. Sloan just gets over the line, stolen by Wilson. Hawks try to set something up halfway home here in the third. McCormick, wrister, and Lumley will make the save. So Cullen and Wilson coming up on the face-off. Creighton and Cullen on the face-off to the left of Lumley. Won by Toronto. Poked away by Creighton, though. Chicago's got it at center. Creighton trying to get some momentum going. Over the line to Jankowski. Jankowski shoots. Lumley gives up the board. Sweeps it around for Cullen. And now we got a penalty coming up on Chicago. Kennedy on as the extra attacker. Smith with a chance. And Rollins deflects it. And Jankowski gets called for a high stick. And with 8:47 to go, the Leafs have a 4-minute power play. So McCoskey and Prestai out there to defend with Martin and Hollingworth. For the Leafs, it's Kennedy, Smith, and Nestorenko with Bolton and Morrison. So Rollins needs to defend for 4 minutes. 1-1 to score. 27-23, the shots in favor of the Hawks. Kennedy versus Prestai. That's going to be won by Chicago. And nope, Nestorenko with a huge hit. Morrison has it. Gets in the zone. Shoots. Smith is there. That's blocked by Martin. Kennedy run over. Smith takes the shot. Rollins is there and holds on. Kennedy not quite sure where he is. He got nailed. So 40 seconds gone. 8:09 to go. No changes. Sloan for the Hawks anyway. Sloan, Klukai, and Armstrong for the Leafs. Face off to the right of Rollins. It is won by Sloan to Armstrong. Behind the net, back to Sloan. Todd Sloan. High slapper. Oh, Rollins will make the catch. Remember, these goalies aren't wearing any face masks either. Kennedy and Prestai again. 7:50 to go in the game. 3:03 to go in the double minor. Face-off is won by Chicago, and they clear it all the way down. And we'll take advantage of change. Klukai to Morrison. Has a scoring chance. He goes low. Rollins with a save and a hold. So almost halfway through the double minor, and the Leafs have 3 shots. Kennedy, Smith, and Nestorenko out there versus Moisenko and Wilson. Face off to the right of Rollins, won by Toronto. Smith gives it away, and the Hawks will clear, or try to. Yep. It was actually a shot. Lumley had to make a save. He gets it to Kennedy. The first half of the double minor is over. 1:52 to go. Kennedy to Smith. A long shot, left side, under pressure. Rollins gives up the rebound. Nestorenko has it. Feeds Kennedy. Blocked by Mortson. Wilson clears it to center. Here come the Leafs again. Smith behind the net to Horton. Horton. Rollins with a rebound. We got a good save on it to Smith. Smith skates it around. Throws it at the net. Rollins again off the pad. No rebound this time. Kennedy. His shot is high. Blocked by Mortson. Smith. Lots of pressure this time. Feeds Thompson. Mortson with a block. Can't do anything with it. The Hawks are exhausted. The Leafs have put up a ton of shots, but Rollins has been a brick wall. They cleared all the way down. The power play is over. The Hawks kill a double minor. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. They got to be frustrated. They clear it down, and the Hawks will set it up. Martin, 4.5 to go. Shots 29-28. Thumb on the scale here. We're trying our best. But you got to score. And, yeah, my goodness is right. And the Leafs couldn't do it. Toronto has it at center. Sloan to Kokai behind the net. Kokai spins around. Spinorama shot. Rollins is there. We'll get a face-off. 3:39 to go. No change in the defense. Pristine, McCoskey, and Toppenzini out there for the Hawks. McGay, Armstrong, and McDonald for the Leafs. Timmy Horton's been out there 32 minutes tonight. McGay and Pristine the face-off in the Chicago zone. Won by the Hawks. And now McGay and Hollingworth do some pushing and shoving. And they'll get matching roughing calls. So it'll be 4-on-4 for the next 2 minutes. The Hawks are a tired club. McDonald and Sloan out there for the Leafs with Bolton and Morrison. Yep, Rollins has single-handedly given the Hawks a chance in this game. He has played the game of his life. 30-28 shots in favor of the Leafs. We are 3:22 away from our first overtime of this postseason. McDonald, and I think Watson on the face-off, is Litzenberger, pardon me, won by the Leafs. Sloan takes the shot, misses wide, and out of play. 3 minutes to go. 1:38 to go in the matching minors. Mikowski and Jankowski out there for the Hawks against Stewart and Klukai. Face-off won by Chicago. They'll dump it around. Mikowski behind the net. Gonna try and feed McIntyre for a shot. Can't do it. Bounces over a stick. Toronto will change. 1:12 to go in the matchings. McDonald the other way. He puts on a high slapper that's going to miss over everything. McIntyre's got it. 58 to go in the matching minors. Hawks change to defenseman. Toronto has it at center. 2:04 to go. This one has been pretty tight. Morrison dumps it around for Sloan. Sloan with a shot. Rollins again, and Toronto will call timeout. So Watson, Litzenberger, McIntyre, and Mortson. 29 seconds to go in the matching minors. Stewart, Smith, Bolton, and Morrison for the Leafs. 1:51 to go. It'll be Litzenberger and Stewart on the face-off. It's won by Chicago. They get it to center. Mortson tries to skin it into Litzenberger. To Watson behind the net. Feeds Mortson for a blue line special. Throws it on the net. Lumley gives up the rebound to Stewart. 5 to go in the match. Again, the matching ones haven't hurt anybody either. Toronto has put an entire bag of gold on the scale, and it hasn't worked. They change up. Everybody back on the ice. 1:22 to go. Martin to Hollingwood. The Hawks will skin it in. Litzenberger to Watson. Tries to find Litzenberger in front of the net. Kennedy gets there. Lumley with a shot, or the save rather, and we're in the last minute of regulation. The Hawks change their forward line. They will stay with Martin and Hollingwood, but it'll be Prestai, McCoskey, and Moisenko against Sloan, Stewart, and Klukai. 57 seconds left. Face off to the left of Lumley. Won by Toronto. Horton, 50 seconds to go. They dump it around and give it up. Prestai. Hawks will take the chance to win this in regulation. Breaks out to Moisenko. 28 seconds to go. McCoskey gonna take the shot. This would win the game. 13 to go. Shot. Lumley with a save and a hold. Yeah. And with a face-off in the Toronto zone, they will pull him. Ed Litzenberger will be the extra skater. You don't normally do this in a tie game, but the chances of Toronto getting a shot on in 12 seconds is pretty low. Prestai against Kennedy. Yep, I think it's a valid move. Nestorenko on the faceoff. Won by Chicago. 2 seconds to go, and we're going to overtime. Nobody could get the shot. So the shots 15 apiece. Toronto had 5 scoring chances and not a goal to be seen. Overtime in a moment. Well, the Leafs have to be frustrated. They had a 4-minute power play when Jankowski got called for the high stick, and they couldn't get anything past Al Rollins. And then we had 2 minutes of 4-on-4 when McGay and Hollingworth got called for being not so nice to each other, and they couldn't get anything in. And so it's free 50 hockey night tonight. The place is rocking now, as Toronto and Chicago now play sudden death. So if Toronto scores, they get Montreal, and if Chicago scores, we get a Game 3 back in Toronto. Sullivan and Kennedy on the face-off here, and it is won by the Leafs. Smith can't control it. Here come the Hawks. Hollingworth. The Sullivan hit by Smith. Here come the Leafs at center. They dump it around, give it up. Hawks change up. Moisenko to Prestai. Back to Moisenko. McCoskey. He's open down the half board. He'll take the shot. It's a bad one. It is wide. Here come the Leafs. And Klukai comes across. Offside. So McIntyre and Mortson, the defenseman, face off just in front of the Chicago zone. Magai and Prestai as we play overtime here in game number 2. Magai has it, but here come the Hawks, and that is an icing call. So almost 2 minutes in, Magai and Prestai face off in the Chicago zone. Rollins looks to his right where the face-off will be. It is won by Toronto, and they get the shot. Parker McDonald throws it at the net. Armstrong is there, but Rollins makes the save. Scoring chances, Chicago has had all of 1, and they've scored. Toronto has had 12. Kennedy versus Prestai here on the face-off. Again, to the right of Rollins here in overtime in the Chicago zone. Won by the Hawks. Prestai to Moisenko. The second scoring chance of the game for the Hawks. Moisenko scores! We got a game 3! It's Moisenko! Bill Moisenko has won the game from McCoskey and Prestai. And Chicago has forced the series back to Toronto. They had 2 scoring chances in the game, and they scored on them both. 2:39 into overtime. It was a lone shot for Chicago, and Bill Moisenko scored on it from McCoskey and Prestai. Oh my goodness, what a hockey game. And so just like last week when the Rangers forced a decisive game 3 in Boston, the Hawks have forced a decisive game 3 in Toronto. Again, Moisenko at 2:39. Yep, the Hawks scalped the Leafs in overtime from McCoskey and Prestai. And seriously, those were the only 2 scoring chances the Hawks had in the entire game, and they score on them. Your 3 stars. The third star, the game winner, Bill Moisenko. The second star, Litzenberger. And the first star is Al Rollins with his 31 saves. Harry Lumley stopped 30 of 32 shots. So here's Toronto's stats in this one. It's poor Smith had 8 shots and 4 scoring chances. That's 2 more than the Leafs had than the Hawks had the entire game. But he gave the puck away 4 times. Nestorenko had 3 hits and a goal. And the Leafs weren't very good on the faceoff. Kennedy took 30 of them and lost 18. For the Hawks, they scored on both their scoring chances. Unbelievable. Watson and Litzenberger with 5 shots apiece. McCoskey gave it away 4 times. Mortson blocked 3 shots. And Prestai, again, the pride of Yorkton, Saskatchewan, 15 face-off wins out of 21. All right, so, my goodness, what a hockey game. We put up the calendar. So we will do game 3 next week of the Bruins and the Rangers, and then miss a week because I'm on vacation. So in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it'll be game 3 of this. But both of these preliminary round series have gone the distance. And Metro Prestai and Eric Nestorenko are the leading scorers. How about that? All right, because of the extreme heat here in the northeast, we will see you no sooner than Friday, and maybe not until over the weekend. Be safe, drink water, and all that. Thank you so much for watching. So both of these series go back to their respective better teams. Game 3 next week in Boston, and Game 3 in 3 weeks in Toronto. I'm Ron Juckett. Thank you so much for watching. What a hockey game. The final score here, the Hawks 2, the Leafs 1 in overtime. Good night.